Hi, this is E.J. Daigle, Director of Robotics and Manufacturing at Dunwoody College Technology, and this will be the second in a sequence of demonstrations on using the EasyBuilder software to program Maple Systems human-machine interfaces. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my EasyBuilder software, and hopefully you've watched the previous episode, which was the first demonstration, Demo 1. If you go back and click on my username and go to my videos, you can go back to the first one. But I'm going to start off from leaving off from where I left, or starting up where I left off on the previous episode there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into my first demo that I did, where we did a motor on off. And again, all we did here was we were able to toggle a motor on, toggle a motor off, which we're just simulating with an LED. Again, we would normally be toggling a bit inside of some sort of PLC ladder logic, and that bit would be controlling some real-world wired device up to a PLC. But in this case, we're just going to do simulations, realizing that we could just change these over to PLC addresses very simply. What I want to do this time, though, is I want to toggle between a couple of screens, and I want to also do a numeric input. So what we'll do is I'm going to look at screen number 11 now. To create screen 11, all I'm going to do is I'm going to left-click on 11. I'm going to go to Create, and I have window 11. I'm going to call this my numeric input window. Really, it's just a demo. And again, I'm going to pick a new background color, which I'll pick this light gray, and hit OK. And now it's still on the home screen, but I can double-click and go to the numeric input screen. I'll go back to the home screen, though, because what I want to do is I want to create a couple of buttons that are going to allow me to shift between windows, kind of like a forward and back on a internet website. So what we'll do is we'll go over here, and there's a button over here called a function key. I want you to grab the function key. And when you open up the function key, it allows you to do a lot of different things. Pop-up windows, window bars, changing windows. You can use it as an inner key for ASCII or for numeric. I mean, there's a lot available here. We're going to change window, but the first one we're going to do is going to be window 10. We're going to leave it at window 10. We'll apply a shape to this. So I'll go to my use shape. I'll go to the shape library. I'm going to pick a blue button, which is different than maybe green or red, which I was using for start and stop in the previous ones. I'll pick blue. And then I'm going to go to the label, and I'm going to call this home screen. So this button would take me back to the home screen. So I'm going to hit OK, and I'll see this button will come in, and I can, resize it as I like. I'm not going to fool around a lot, but again, you could go into the profile for this and make it exactly, 135 or whatever you want. And you can spend a lot of time on the formatting of the text and stuff, but we want to make sure we're moving on here. So now this one will take me back to the home screen from whatever page I'm on. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to right-click, copy, right-click, paste. Now I have two of the same button here. I'll put them right above and below each other. But this one, I'm going to double-click on it. And instead of going to the home screen, I'm going to change window, and this is going to take me to window 11. All right. And for the label, I'm going to call it numeric input. So this will take me to the numeric input screen. Kind of cool. All right. Hit OK. And let's see. Then we may end up resizing this one. And now we've got a couple of nice little buttons here that we can use to navigate. Now the neat thing here is obviously I don't need to go to the home screen from the home screen, but what I can do is I can highlight these two buttons. I can copy them. And if I position them pretty nice, and maybe I'll position them up high to make it kind of nice and easy to tell where they go. I'll just put them right in the corner. I can go to the numeric input screen, and I can put them in the same place there. So no matter what screen I'm on, I'm going to have this top right be kind of my navigation bar, so I can get to and from things. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do some numeric input. It's a little tricky, but not bad. Window 50 is set up as a numeric keypad. So window 50 is real easy to get to. It actually is controlled by local bit 100. That's something you just would need to know. You could either read that in the manual or hear it from me. So really, to get window 50 to pop, all you need to do is go to a set bit and control local bit 100. Okay, so there's local bit 100. We're going to have that turn on. I'm not going to put a shape on this. I'm not going to put a shape on this at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit OK. it's going to come in as just a, well, I did put a shape on it. Let me go back in and turn that shape off. So let me go to use shape and take that out. So it's just going to come in as a ghost image is all it's going to come in as. It's not actually, it doesn't actually have a shape or anything attached to it. But over the top of it, I'm going to lay a numeric input extend. So I'll grab the numeric input extend. It's going to be, I'm going to give this a trigger address of LB9000. That means that I can always put data in and out of this. LB9000 is an always on bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in location LW300, something way off in the distance, not going to get in the way of anything else. Numeric, I can talk about decimals above, decimals below. I'm just going to use whole numbers, 0 to 100. The shape, here I'm going to apply a shape, and I'm going to make it just the standard gray shape. And the font, I don't need to do anything there. So it'll come in, and we'll size this guy almost identical in size to the other one. So it's just going to lay right over the top of it. So what's going to happen is when someone goes to hit numeric input, they're going to set the bit to pop the numeric input, LB100, right here. This set bit, LB100, is going to pop. Okay, and at the same time, where LB100 goes out to that window 50, right here, it's going to bring that data back in to this guy, which is LW300. That's kind of cool. All right, and then the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bar graph. So on the right-hand side over here, I've got a bar graph. And I'm going to look at LW300. That looks great. Shape, you don't need to use a shape on the bar graph because the bar graph has its own pre-built shapes. I always like using blue for the bar and red for alarm, but you know, it's up to you guys. You're going to set a span though. 0 to, we'll go in my case 0 to 100, and I'll set the low alarm at 0, but I'll set this alarm at 90 so we can actually see when it goes above 90. We'll see what happens here. And you can make this bar as big or as small as you want. You can put some grids on it and some text and stuff. You know, if I wanted to just do it real simply, I might just make put a 0 here, and maybe I'd put a, I could copy that, and that'd be a real quick and easy way to do this. And I might put a 50, right in the middle, and I might put a 100 up at the top. So I'll have to edit these a little bit just to get in there and actually see what they're at. So this would be a 50. And this would be a 100. And now I've got a nice neat little bar graph that's going to be able to tell me what the level is. And it also will give me an alarm. It'll change colors when I'm above 90. So that's kind of a cool deal. And the last thing is I might put in some text here. I might call this numeric input. Okay. And I'll put that right above here. And I might also give the window a title. So I'll slide this down a little bit. And let's give the window a title right up here. So we'll make this a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to call this numeric, just so that someone can see. But we've also, in the meantime, we've also been able to set up navigation keys over here too. So this is kind of an interesting thing that we've got going on here. So let's give it a test. I'm going to hit save. Okay. I should have saved that as YouTube demo too, but that's fine. And then the compile button again, like we've used before, the little hammer. And hit compile. It's going to tell me the program size. It's going to tell me if there's any errors, so that's good. And then we're going to go to the offline simulation. It's going to pop the home screen. The initial screen is what it's going to pop. I can still test this. On, off, works great, right? But now I can also go from the home screen to the numeric input screen. Here's what my numeric input screen looks like. Now if I click on this button, it's going to pop. And if I type in 50 and hit enter, you'll see the bar graph will go up to 50, and it'll actually display the 50. If I hit 75, you'll see it goes up to 75. Now what happens at 90 again? Well, let's make it 91. It's red now. And I think 90 is good enough to make it red too. But at 89, of course, it would be blue. So this gives us a great example. This would be demonstration number 2 of the Maple Systems HMI. Popping this numeric input, very handy. It is worth mentioning that this numeric input right now is stored as a local word. But if I was using Allen Bradley software, I might store this as an integer file, an N7 file, or I might store it as a float file. And if I'm working with, let's say, Siemens, I might be storing that as a VW or VD file in some sort of numeric or floating math memory location. So that would be it for demonstration number 2.